to ask me who seems to think they're the most powerful right now, I'd easily point to Meghan the Witch and her companion Ginger. Everything they do seems to be aimed at challenging the royal family, especially with their recent visit to Jamaica. These two, who've turned their backs on the monarchy, just won't give up on their dream of taking over. Hello, friends. Welcome to the King YouTube channel. My royal gossip lovers, Meghan, feeling rejected by William, decided to make Catherine's life tough. She also realized being royal wasn't just about popularity. And no matter how liked she was, she'd never be queen. I think she's out to wreck the royal family. Meghan seemed to believe she was destined to be queen. Princess Diana used to call Harry Good King Harry when he was young, thinking he was tougher than William and more suited for the role. This might have influenced Harry to believe he should be king. After their Australian tour, where they were greeted by huge crowds, both Harry and Meghan thought they were the most popular royals. They even suggested to the Queen that they should get the top roles because of their popularity. And that they were reminded that the monarchy doesn't work that way. After their Australian tour, where they were greeted by huge crowds, both Harry and Meghan thought they were the most popular royals. They even suggested to the Queen that they should get the top roles because of their popularity. But they were reminded that the monarchy doesn't work that way. Diamond was pushed back to being number 4 in the line of succession after the Queen, Prince Charles, and William and Catherine. I believe that's when Meghan decided to declare war on them. If she couldn't influence them and get what she wanted, she tried to destroy them to prove her power, and she was determined to win. Harry seemed like the perfect match for her, not very bright and willing to go along with whatever she wanted. He either doesn't understand or refuses to accept why his parents' marriage failed. He believes it was all his father's fault for leaving Diana because of Camilla's charm. He can't see any flaws in his mother because in his innocent mind, she was perfect. He has blocked out Diana's difficult and often willful behavior, as well as the fact that at the time of their wedding, she was a raw and naive young virgin who believed in the fairy tale of happily ever after, while Charles was a mature adult with different interests. Meghan seems to operate on a principle of what Meghan wants, Meghan gets, and she desires the failure of the monarchy. Harry appears to be aiding and abetting her in this. In his opinion, his father destroyed Diana by leaving her, so he believes that if he doesn't do Meghan's bidding or leaves her, he'll destroy her in return. Meghan has shared that she experienced suicidal thoughts while pregnant with Archie. All she has to do is hint to Harry that if he leaves, she might as well be dead, and he stays. Only when he realizes that she's as tough as old boots and full of malicious intent will he finally break free from her influence. What he doesn't realize is that it's already too late for his own redemption, and regardless of his choice, his future could be very bleak. I bet the royal family is deeply ashamed of him. If he were my relative, I certainly would be. He's brought disgrace upon his family and the UK. It should have been clear to Harry some time ago that Meghan only married him for fame and what she thought was unlimited wealth, given how often he appears miserable. It seems he's more trapped with Meghan than he ever was with his own family. Like going from bad to worse, however, he refuses to see Meghan in that light. He doesn't question Meghan's behavior. He believes her when she claims to be in contact with his deceased mother and says Diana approves of what they're doing. Harry may sometimes wonder what he's up to, but when Meghan strokes his arm, it's like he's completely under her spell. He's really hung up about his dad leaving Diana for Camilla, so he's dead set on never hurting his wife like that. That's why he sticks around, doing whatever Meghan asks, just hoping to keep her happy, like he wished his dad had done for Diana. He feels all mixed up, like he can't leave Meghan because it's just not him, and she's not ready to let him go either. She might not be much with him, but at least she's got the fancy titles and attention, all thanks to him and his family. Unfortunately, Harry's not the brightest royal around. He's struggled with drugs and alcohol his life, which hasn't done his brain any favors. Sometimes I wouldn't be surprised if Harry wasn't all there mentally. It's pretty clear he struggles to make smart decisions in his life. Meghan basically calls the shots, and Harry just goes along with it. Over the years, they've hired a bunch of people to help them look good, but Meghan tends to do her own thing, ignoring what the experts say. Lots of folks have quit working for them because Meghan's just too hard to control. She doesn't seem to have much common sense either, like calling paparazzi to snap photos of her in parking lots or specific spots. Some folks think all the bad stories before their marriage were because of the drama with her dad and that side of the family trying to cash in with tell-all books. But let's not forget she wasn't even talking to her dad until she got engaged to Harry. Then suddenly, she acted like she was too good for him and her family. Meghan's mom became her spokesperson, supporting her new image as a woman of color in her first televised interview about Meghan Markle. Thomas Markle, SER, shared about the moment Prince Harry asked for Meghan's hand in marriage and how he sadly watched the wedding from a small rented hideout. He mentioned speaking to the prince afterward, giving his blessing for their union. Meghan told me first, then Harry got on the phone a few times asking for her hand. It's puzzling why Harry never met his wife's father. She never wants them to meet, fearing her lies about her family and upbringing would be exposed and ruin everything. It's like night and day comparing Catherine's family to Meghan's. Catherine's family always stands by her and supports the royal family without seeking any advantage from their reputation. It's truly heartbreaking to hear about the man who had prepared a speech for the big day, but never got the chance to deliver it. Marco Serre shared how he had wanted to entertain the wedding guests with stories of Meghan and Harry's early days, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. Meghan seems to lack basic manners and social grace. It's either her way or the highway, and not many people enjoy being around someone like that. Her flaws are out in the open for everyone to see, impacting how people perceive her in every interaction. Although we don't know Catherine or Meghan personally, considering what we've heard, who would you prefer spending time with on an afternoon or evening? It's a sad reality that Thomas Markle may never meet his daughter's husband or get to see his own grandchildren. The entire foundation of this marriage seems to be based on lies spun by his daughter, whether consciously or unconsciously. Askus could be why he didn't walk her down the aisle or give his prepared wedding speech about their first meeting. It's troubling that there are 3 different versions of how they met, suggesting they both want to hide the truth, likely for scandalous reasons. As I'm starting to believe that Harry might have been set up by Meghan, possibly during a night at Soho House organized by Marcus. There have been whispers about a threesome, but they always get dismissed. If Meghan worked on yachts for hire, it would fit the narrative. At Soho House, Meghan seemed to follow a similar pattern where women are available for mingling. Whose idea was it for Harry to propose over the phone? That must have worried Meghan, as it could lead to them meeting, which she seemed to want to avoid. Hence, doing something as significant as proposing over the phone seems strange, doesn't it? Thomas Markle C. should have insisted on meeting in person first before agreeing to anything like that. Unfortunately, they both seem to enable a controlling and domineering woman lacking empathy. Can anyone truly believe this woman loves or ever loved her husband? Even at their wedding, she appeared to stare at him in a predatory and dominating way, showing deliberate disrespect towards the Queen, refusing to curtsy and seemingly making life difficult for his family, who reportedly didn't like her anyway. Meghan's behavior often shows traits of narcissism, where she never seems satisfied and always blames others. She claimed the royal family didn't protect her from the media. Did she expect them to keep paying off everyone she mistreated to keep it quiet? It seems like that's exactly what she expected. Narcissists often think they're beyond reproach, always shifting blame onto others. Harry seems to be a convenient target for Meghan's manipulation. He frequently complains that his family didn't support his mental health struggles, even indirectly criticizing his brother, the future king, and his father in public appearances, while he avoids directly mentioning his grandmother. The implications are clear. The incident involving Dr. David Knott, a renowned NHS surgeon, sheds light on the royal family's understanding of mental health issues. Dr. Knott had just returned from serving in Aleppo, Syria, and was honored to be a guest at a luncheon in 2020 where the late Queen was seated beside him. During their conversation, he experienced a sudden and terrifying episode of PTSD. As he writes in his book War Doctor, his mind was flooded with distressing images of injured children and aid workers. Feeling overwhelmed, he fought back tears. The Queen noticed his distress and reached out to comfort him, quietly instructing a courtier to fetch a silver box of biscuits. Creaking one in half, she shared it with him, mentioning that they were meant for the dogs they fed there. She remarked, "That's much better than talking, isn't it?" She showed great empathy towards the war hero, discreetly handling the situation to prevent any embarrassment without making him feel inadequate. Contrast this with the lack of recognition of mental health issues in Harry by his own family, including Prince William. It's heartbreaking to think how deeply saddened Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip, Charles, and William must have been by Harry's continuous public attacks, especially during significant events like King Charles's coronation on May 23, where Harry refused to sing God Save the King in front of a global audience. Such actions are etched in history for future generations to see. The idea of reconciliation seems distant when it comes to Harry and Meghan in the eyes of many Britons. Instead, they are often labeled as traitors. It's important not to simply forgive and forget, but to acknowledge the damage, pain, and suffering caused by their deceitful actions and countless lives. Let's express our thoughts. Showing sadness and offense signals to the royal family that they are not alone. We stand with them, deliberate lies can't be undone, and treachery should never be overlooked or forgiven by Her Majesty. Our late queen possessed remarkable empathy, a true humanitarian trait. Unlike the constant virtue signaling from two traitorous individuals, stories abound about the queen's understanding of the healing power of animals, such as dogs and horses in therapeutic processes. She genuinely empathized with those in need of comfort. In contrast, Harry and Meghan have consistently demonstrated a lack of empathy, particularly in their treatment of the Queen, Prince Philip, and the rest of the royal family, stirring nothing but disdain and anger towards them in my heart. I still recall Meghan's laughter at the incident when a soldier collapsed during a parade in front of the late Queen. It was disgraceful behavior from her. While everyone else on the balcony showed concern, she found it amusing. Such contemptible conduct. There are numerous questions floating around, assuming that the UK as a whole is eager to welcome back the miscreants and for Harry to seamlessly reintegrate into his family. However, there's only a minority in the UK sincerely wishing to turn back the clock, which simply isn't possible. His relationship with his family, his role in the royal family, and his place in British history have been irreparably damaged. Any hopes of reconciliation, even from his own father, seem futile. Any spare branches in the UK, Oliver or otherwise, would be better used to light warning fires should they attempt to return. Arguably, the weakest link in the family realizes that any attempt to reintegrate these treacherous individuals who promote racial division and oppose the monarchy would end disastrously. I wholeheartedly agree. In fact, I would go so far as to label these two deceitful liars as evil. If they had chosen to fade into obscurity instead of embarking on a global tour for privacy while airing their grievances for hefty sums of money as a British citizen, I might have some sympathy. Mental health is a serious matter, but Harry's actions have only exacerbated the situation. Should they ever contemplate returning, they'll discover just how unforgiving and unsympathetic the British people can be. Betray us at your own risk. There's a distinction between forgiveness and simply moving on without dwelling on past grievances. Ultimately, those who engage in wrongful actions are the ones with the underlying issues. They're so filled with bitterness and spite that they want to spread negativity to everyone around them. The best approach is to ignore them and let them self-destruct. As wise individuals have advised, keep calm and carry on. Everything Harry has done since meeting Meghan seems to serve a purpose, and to further distance themselves from the British royal family and widen the divide between them, focusing on their personal pursuits rather than their royal duties. They try to portray the royal family as unloving, uncaring, and devoid of emotion, especially in front of the world press, yet their appearances on Oprah only exacerbate the situation. The ongoing scandals surrounding Harry and Meghan are exhausting, but like a train wreck, it's hard to look away. Their supporters are working tirelessly to undermine Catherine, and their posts are shockingly nasty. To downvote them, the royal family doesn't need all this publicity. It's the last thing they need. While they're doing a commendable job of ignoring the Sussexes, it must still bother them. Whoever is financially backing Harry and Meghan will likely continue to do so until their objectives are met. I still believe that Harry and Meghan are being used as pawns to generate as much negative press for the royal family as possible. It appears to be working to some extent as the media frenzy continues, leaving those unfamiliar with the royals unsure of what to believe. It's truly regrettable. I'm relieved to hear that a book about the British royals has been removed from Dutch bookshelves due to the publisher's fear of legal action. Meghan and Harry use their creativity to reimagine classic fairy tales. Like much of what they've said, this book seems to be a work of fiction. By accusing King Charles and Catherine of racism, Meghan and the publishers have potentially opened themselves up to a costly lawsuit. Einan appears to be upset that the royal family didn't fulfill her every desire on a silver platter, but their attempts failed. The book, which has largely been forgotten, lacks evidence to support its claims, while Harry and Meghan's falsehoods are consistently debunked. The public has clearly seen through their deceitful actions. Not many people believe what they say, and now they may face consequences for their actions. As for suggesting they might flee due to the upcoming court case between the Department of Homeland Security and the Heritage Foundation over Harry's visa status, it's premature to predict what will happen. I'm no legal expert, but my understanding is that the judge will hear arguments from both sides regarding the disclosure of documents to reveal Prince Harry's visa status. If the court denies the Heritage Foundation's request for document disclosure, they may attempt to invoke the Freedom of Information Act. However, if the Sussex family were to suddenly leave the country just before the court case, it would raise suspicions and make them appear guilty of hiding something. It would be highly unwise, especially considering their reputation is tarnished worldwide. Additionally, it's questionable whether Meghan even wants to leave Los Angeles or California at all. As for discussing the traitor couple, Harry and Meghan, feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section. Remember, engaging with the video will help the King YouTube channel grow. Thank you for watching, goodbye, and stay tuned for more interesting videos.